question isn't what are we going to do. The question is what aren't we going to do.
Before we get into the episode, I do have to say this. For some reason, the audio video messed up. So, the video isn't going to be on time with the audio. But the video is still up. So, show must go on. All right, let's go. Every time? All right, welcome to the MYP podcast, Making You Proud. Oh my gosh. There was a lot. I am sorry. Okay, this is definitely coming out late. Man, you just going through something, bro. It's just going through something. It was so much. It was so much. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not gonna talk about it yet because one thing I have said before is that in my content I talk about what I'm going through. So in reality, I kind of save a good majority of it for later. So then it won't be like, all fresh and it reopen wounds and stuff because now I got to keep looking at the algorithm and to see, like just to see if it did something in the spot. Yark, yark, yark. Man, yark as in you already know. Man, but I did want to talk about one thing. Gotta give our respects. We gotta give our respects to the man who started this all, to the man who put me in this position to where mental position. The man who put me into this thought process, who made me this natural born hustler. My father, who has recently passed, and in reality it took a toll on me. It was actually kind of one of the reasons why, we took a little bit on this podcast episode. But we back, you know, we here. We doing it again. We gonna continue. Episode 2. Oh my goodness, this is a milestone, bro. Like, I don't think you understand how much of a milestone this actually is, in my opinion. You're not going to understand unless you know like who I was, or like you've seen my other YouTube page before this, right? And it's so crazy, it's so insane that we've made it to episode 2. It's not that it's hard being consistent, but it's that sometimes when you get into something new, that's what it's hard being consistent on. Like, it's not hard being consistent on something you have to do. Like, but when it's something like this, something that pushes that needle forward. I know, like I don't know how to explain it in a way, but it's like one day I know you're going to understand when you got to push that needle forward and you got to do things you're not used to doing. It's hard to push that needle. That sound like a heroin joke. I'm sorry. Oh, oh no. Okay, well, sadly, that is kind of what this episode is about. It's just about addiction. That's what I was going for, because that's what I really wanted to talk about. Um Sadly, my father, he passed due to an OD. Rest in peace. I don't know what he was going through in that moment, but I just wish I could have told him that I had his back. But now I know he got mine because I'm still going. But reality, man, I like it makes sense in a way. It really does make sense in a way. It's like addiction, I've heard, is actually hereditary. Ain't that kind of odd? Like, addiction is hereditary. So like the same thing, I mean, a lot of things is hereditary. Some of the same things that your parents like, you like, One thing my mom used to have while she was carrying me, she said that she used to have what's it called? Frosted flakes with Cracker Barrel cheese. And I was like, yo, what? But then I tried it and I was like, this is kind of bomb. Now, this ain't like that one girl on TikTok who put like melted cheese and like hot milk in the cereal. It was just cold milk, cold cheese. It was like it's but my dad, what he does is that he put ice in his cereal. And he kind of the reason why I do that as well. It keeps the cereal cold. Cause why would I want warm cereal? Cause like if you was like me, if you was like me playing video games 25/8, man, that cereal gonna sit there for a little bit. So you don't want your cereal to get warm while you deucing it up on Mortal Kombat or something, man. For real though, like that's like oh man, we gotta give it up to bro, man. Yeah, give it up to my father because he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot. I don't want this to really be like a rant about it, but it's just because it's like because I want him to really rest. I know he needed. I know he needed, but he's gonna always be in my memories. And in reality, now he's in yours. We spreading his name, bro. What? We getting him out there. I hope, man. What? I hope one day this like just like booms and like now everybody knows like what my father created, and that's me. That's me. I want to be that big thing my father created in a way. But again, we talking about addiction. We talking about addiction. I know. I know it's like kind of weird. I don't want to like. I don't want to be like one of those. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm ranting a little bit. I'm rambling, but that's all the podcast is. It's just ranting and rambling. Uh, man, yeah. So like, I guess we really gonna talk about addiction though. And I don't know why this was like this is like what I really wanted to talk about, but it was just I wanted to talk about it because believe it or not, I was addicted. I was addicted to stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we all have subtle addictions that really aren't unhealthy, that really aren't healthy or unhealthy, because I used to play video games all the time. And I'd say that was my quote unquote healthy addiction. But let's be honest, man, that was not it won't a healthy addiction. It won't. It won't because I used to spend like the entire day just playing my game, wasting time, wasting hours. And it's not that it was a waste of time because it's how I coped, you know? But that's really what an addiction is, just the way you cope with everything you deal with. So it's just like when I really put the pieces together, it's just like I realized one of the first things after I really right after I kind of like got from like the video game scene to girl scene, man. What man? Them video games weren't really as important once it got to the girls, But all the video game time taught me a couple things. Let's not get to that direction in this podcast, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We gotta catch ourselves sometimes, but like, man, it was just like girls to like to it was video games to girls and girls, man, they was always on the mind. Everything I did was for the other one. Man, what? I was a certified lover boy. but not a certified pedophile because you had like, I low key needed you to be older than me. Oh wait, that don't. Ooh. Why does it always get like this? I'm sorry, my life is kind of weird, but but, but like we really getting to that point. It was just like I needed them. Like I realized most of the time they were either older than me or more mature than me at that time. So it was just how I felt comfortable. So, but then we push a little bit forward into who we become, who we are, who we is. You know, because of the females. Let's be honest, man. Them females, they gon' that when you really into that significant other, bro, you gonna do a lot with them. And my first girlfriend introduced me into weed. Oh, I remember the first time I smoked. I didn't feel a thing. Like I didn't feel a thing. And man, this is kind of crazy when we really get to that. But like, oh, it make me so. Well, I'm not a junkie. I'm not a junkie, but I was like, first time I smoked weed, it was like, um, we didn't have anything to roll up with, or actually more like we didn't know how to roll up. But we did have a friend who, would smoke weed normally. So we asked her for guidance, and she taught us how to make a pipe out of aluminum foil. And I did it. I hit it. I hit the pipe and I didn't feel a thing. I didn't feel a thing. And I was just like, wow, maybe I'm just immune to it. But in reality, that was just like, I think it was just kind of like protection in a way. It's like divine protection. And we push a little bit forward until maybe about the third time I tried weed, because there was a second time. Basically, the girl I was with, she made edible brownies. This is the thing about those brownies. She didn't make it into an oil or nothing. She didn't make it into an oil or nothing. She just sprinkled weed crumbs. Just sprinkled the weed crumbs in the batter and then bake the cookie. I mean, no, bake the brownies, and it did absolutely nothing again. So now, so now I was really just eating. I was really just eat like first I'm basically inhaling flames, and then the second time, I oh my god, yo, the second time I'm eating little nuggets, little crumbs, and I'm just like, bro, I really don't think this smoking thing is for me. But then I started hanging out with some experienced people. Off my rocker, bro. Off my rocker the first time I was ever high. And I think in a kind of weird kind of way, ever since then, I was just chasing that. I was just chasing that because it wasn't that it wasn't that it was like anything like that. It was just that it was fun. It was fun to be in a world where I wasn't in control in a way. But then it was like a really bad strain, and I tweaked so hard. It was man, I tweaked so hard. Like I really want to like really explain this stuff, but I can't. I really can't. But it was just like it just kept pushing from there. It kept pushing from there, and it was just hard. It was hard to really just. It was hard to stop, not because it's not I didn't want to, but because everybody around me did, and I felt obligated because I was around people who did. Kind of being an outcast, of a bunch of people who don't smoke is just like they're gonna look at you weird. And push came to shove, we came to this conclusion of came coming just coming to the conclusion of just like this is just like maybe it was peer pressure. I don't know. Doing it by myself, doing it just to go through the day. Switching from weed to vape, to not vape pens, to pens. Carts. Because that was the new big thing now. We was on the carts now, so I'm on the carts, man. Man. That was the worst thing they ever made because I was on that every second of the day because I didn't have to go outside anymore. I didn't have to buy papers. I didn't have to do none of that. I had the cart and I was good. And by the time I was really hitting them carts the most was while I was working at Taco Bell and Cracker Barrel. And Cracker Barrel, man, I remember one day I did like a double shift. I remember I did a double shift and I was off my toaster strudel. Like it was crazy. And I'm just sitting there listening to the old lady talk to me. And for a quick second, I'm just like, did she ask for something? And then for some reason, at the same time I'm thinking that, there was a walkie-talkie that was behind me. So basically, if you didn't know, or live next near, if you ever been to a Cracker Barrel, okay, you ever been to one? They have earpieces that are connected to walkie-talkies, and basically, in the walkie-talkies, they all talk throughout the entire store. I There was a walkie-talkie, there was an extra one that was behind me. I was like, I don't know if it was on, but I know that the general manager said something around the same time she asked me a question, and I just didn't say anything, you know. And that was a weird moment. That was a weird moment because it just put my heart in my ass. It was just like, and I don't know what that face was, but for real, like I was really, it's like there was that part of me, of course, that was like, I'm not addicted. I'm not addicted. I'm not addicted. Bro, I'm literally living in the addiction because I can't eat if I don't. I can't eat if I can't eat if I can't smoke. But I was disguising it as I'd rather smoke so I could eat. Because the food gonna taste better. You know, I can't sleep if I can't smoke. I'd rather sleep if I smoke because I'm gonna have the dope dreams. You know what I mean? It's the only way I unwind so I can finally go to bed. We was just disguising what we like, just disguising the need for weed in order to do everyday life stuff. And I think it was a long time in a way before I started to really realize like this was affecting me negatively. And I'm going to put the link of the story time of what basically made me quit from my other channel because that's where I posted it at. I don't want to repost it because I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to that channel one day. But basically, the gist of the story is I ended up having a really bad freak out, and it kind of just made me slow down until I eventually stopped. But when I stopped, it just kind of turned into something else, and that's when I started smoking vapes. Now I know that I said that this podcast is about addiction, and when you hear addiction, you think like hard drugs, but it's just like it's like I qualify addiction in a way as like if you need it in order to like survive your everyday life, you're addicted to it. but that's just my case. That's just my case because it was like I was using it as a crutch in order to get through a lot of things. Cause man, like that stuff was making me think. It was making me think, and I thought I liked thinking. And then I started thinking negatively. Phew. We back. Okay, I forgot what I was talking about, low key. But like I said, like I said, yeah, it just I think I was definitely started talking about vapes. But yeah, it just switched to from weed to vapes because I still wanted to crave. I was still craving like that feel. I wanted to feel something, you know, and it was such a weird thing around that time because I was just like going through it, and it was like I won't feeling nothing for real with the vapes, but it was clearing my mind as if I was feeling something. And that kind of mutated is just over and over. It's like from vapes to not really cigarettes, but to blacks, you know, cigars. And one thing I learned is that you're not even supposed to inhale. You're not even supposed to inhale because of the nicotine. I had no idea. Yeah, I didn't know that you weren't even supposed to inhale. And it was weird to figure that out because it was like, oh my gosh, that's what's making people sick. That's what's making people messed up because it was just like the nicotine is supposed to just be on the mouth. You know what I mean? That's just supposed to be something you feel here, not all throughout the body. And it's pushed into like a weird thing, kind of like it was a weird up and downhill battle because then it started turning into me realizing that this is a real addiction. So I quit a couple times, and me quitting was basically me getting out of an environment where that was there and kind of just trying and kind of just like figuring out how am I going to keep going. In a way, it's like I didn't have the money to buy another one, but I did have the money to buy another one. You know what I mean? So I kind of just like go back and forth with it. And it was weird. It was a weird time in my life because I'll basically be playing the game, and that was one of the main times where where I'd smoke. So it was I'd play the game, and sometimes I'd literally just look around. Where is it? You know what I mean? And I realized I was doing that while I had one. You know, like while I had one, I was doing that. But then when I was attempting to quit, like one of the couple times, I I would just basically like get a kill on a game and then look around, and then I remember, oh, I'm supposed to be quitting, and like that loop was it messed with my head. It messed with my head not because it was like maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this, but it was because it was like this. has some control over me. This has a control over me because I am seeking it. Reality. It was again like then it kind of was just like, man, these vapes is, hitting the pockets too hard. So of course, like I said, I started, with the cigars, the filtered cigars, and that was hitting. That was like, it didn't feel the same, but it was really also helping me quit. It didn't feel the same, but it was helping me quit at the same time. It just was a very long process because it was like all I could get because it was so cheap. But at the same time, it was like, this isn't good enough, while also being like, this is healing something. And that was also like when I was really like quitting that, I was still going through quite a bit in like my life, not really just about like, not really just about mentally, but physically. I was really going through something. And that was like I couldn't smoke weed, so that was my quick vacation. So, it was just like being able to just go somewhere and sit and just let go. That was my release. And I realized that that's not a release, it's a crutch. And that's honestly how I quit. It wasn't easy. I'll never say that it was easy, but it took time. And at one point, I really was just like, okay, one day, next day, one day, the next day, one day, the next day. And then one day, was just like, it's been 10 days, 10 days without a hit. Oh my gosh, I'm really doing it. Like, but day three, day one, you feel like you can do it. Day two, you start hitting you a little bit, but it was just like, but day three is when you feel like you are losing it all. Day three was literally like almost breaking point, but then you just keep going, you keep moving. Then you hit day 10. And day 10, there's that still lingering feeling. But I feel like once you hit day 30, once you hit a month, that's when your body is like, or that's when your body and your mind connects, and it's just like, I can do 30 days. Why not I do another 30 days? And that is how we ended up here, to where we don't even need it anymore. Of course, it was of course, like, yeah, maybe I had to find a little bit of faith in something else. But I really kind of always believed that I had the willpower to be able to do it, if that made sense. Like, I always believed that I had the willpower. And I always, like, that was one of the things that helped me realize, like, I have the willpower to do a lot. If I can quit smoking, I can quit doing that. If I can quit smoking, I can quit doing that. It was just like, now I had evidence to be able to start moving forward in everything that I was doing. And like, it's this, like, I only really talk about addiction in my experience because it's like the only really experience that I really can talk about, because I'm not sure on how much it affects anybody else in my family. Like, I don't really know about what my family had to go through dealing with, some sort of drug problem or some sort of drug addiction, anything. All because maybe it's just I just never asked. But the main thing was is that I knew, I knew that it was affecting me, even though I was still working. I was still working. I wasn't like just sitting around doing nothing. But then there were those times where I wasn't doing anything, you know? And around there was a couple of times where like I used to, be high out of my mind, and I'm thinking to myself, I want better for my life. I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to have the tailored suits. I want to have the money in the bank account. And just it's just like having that type of thinking, and I think that was like the kind of thing that fueled the flame. And in reality, it's like I realized, like, if I can do that, I know somebody else can. I know that, like, if there's so many people who have quit and was able to do it, I know I can. I know I could. And that's kind of like it's just like everything else in life. Like, somebody else can do it. I'm pretty positive you can as well. But let's get off of that topic, man. Let's get off of that topic, man. Um, I'm not sure. Um, so again, if y'all want to give in a little submission or something, email me. Let me know what you're going through. You want some advice out of it? Just hit the link in the description. Give a little bit of advice. Give a little bit of advice. Something that you're going through. Something you want to get out of. Just learning how to express yourself. Say hey. I don't know. Say hey in the comments if you really want to. But let's get into our segment of top fives. Now, what I okay. Top five most inspirational movies that moved you. All right, my top five. At number five, I got Forrest Gump. No, Forrest Gump, dude, when it hit the end, it touched my soul. It was one of the reasons why I was like, I think parenthood at such a high level, because he said, man, I don't care about this money. I don't care about these businesses. I don't care about what she did in the past. I got a boy now. Let me sit on this stoop while we wait for him to come back. And number two, I mean, wait, number no, and number four, we got Radio. Y'all don't know nothing about that one. Y'all probably don't know nothing about Radio. But man, it was about this dude. I guess he was disabled or something. It's a true story. Is that? It's a true story about a dude, about a about like it's like disabled black man, and he just loved football. And I don't know what it was that when I was younger, it used to kind of like make me cry because for some reason I resonated with him. Like I used to feel like that oddball, and because the kid was bullied when he was young, so like of course I resonated. And at number three, we got ATL. I'm sorry if this is not higher, but ATL, the movie with Ti and all of them, the skating movie, drug dealing, all that, man. That movie was inspirational because it moved me. It moved me because it was like country boy with a big dream. And it's like I never really had the ability to express what I was going through, because he was like, dude, no parents. You know, he has to learn how to survive in this hard world, but at the same time, he gotta bring someone else up with him. So I was just like, man, this movie is great. This is inspirational. Why did he buy chocolate milk? And number two, y'all gonna laugh at me on this one. Y'all gonna laugh at me in this one. Number two gotta go to the Love Rascals. Bro, it's like it was the Super Bowl. It was like it was the Super Bowl, bro. It's like he won the race. He got his girl back. Bro had two pickles. Like, oh my gosh, you couldn't get me off of that hill because my homies won in the end. Couldn't get me off that hill, and my homie got the girl. He I don't know if he finally got his hair down, but I know he got it, bro. And it was such an inspirational ending. Such an inspirational ending. And then number one, y'all don't understand how inspirational this was to me. Other guys with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Now the real reason why this movie was so inspirational to me is because it's the dudes you least expect saving the day. Let alone the fact that this dude, the dude Will Ferrell played, used to be a pimp. He used to be a pimp. He got him the craziest, baddest wife, bro. And then, and then, and then he used what he used to be, the thing that he hid from the world, in order to save the day. Cause sometimes that's all we need, bro. We just need to be tapped in on who we used to be in order to be able to continue, in order to be able to accomplish. But that soup kitchen joke will forever be funny. The soup kitchen, Gator don't play no. Bro, oh my gosh, that movie was hilarious. But it was just like, when you really look at it, like, that was so inspirational. All right, but that's pretty much it, man. Oh my gosh, that was a great pod. Great pod. Great pod. We made it to episode 2. That is, man. If I feel like if it was like, if you were in my shoes, you understood, man. Like, I don't know. But it's like episode 2. We made it to episode 2, and that's an accomplishment. But that's pretty much it. It's all about making you proud. Hit the link in the description.